Hello and welcome to Real Chat with Kat, the podcast dedicated to igniting your entrepreneurial spirit and empowering you to conquer new horizons. In this podcast, we chat with inspiring entrepreneurs on their journey to success through some amazingly insightful and expansive conversations. These episodes thrive on thought-provoking chats where our guests fearlessly explore their path to success, sharing their experiences, failures, and triumphs. No topic is off limits as we deep dive into the talked about and not so talked about pieces it takes to build a business, overcome limiting beliefs, deal with personal struggles, and everything in between that shapes our lives and our businesses. I'm your host, Kat Polsonelli, creator and founder at The Lotus Effect, where we believe that success is not just about strategies and tactics, it's about cultivating a powerful mindset and creating customized business operations that align with you and your true purpose. Whether it's mastering time management, improving productivity, enhancing leadership skills, or simply fostering a growth-oriented mindset, we'll provide you with the tools and strategies to flourish in both your business and personal life. I'm so excited to have you join us today in this episode, so get ready to feel empowered and inspired as we learn together and from one another on how to rise above challenges, break through limitations, and unlock our full potential. Let's dive in. Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me today on this episode of Real Chat with Kat. I'm so excited to have you guys here today. I have an awesome guest who's also a really good friend of mine, so we are going to have so much fun in this conversation. So I hope your listening ears are tuned in. You got your piece of paper so you can write some notes because there is no telling what's going to come out of our mouths. So Emily, thank you so much for being a part of the podcast today.
I am so excited to be here.
Thank you. See, this is what happens. This is how the audience can tell the difference between like people I know and those that I just have met a couple minutes because like the conversation. Anyway, so as we jump in, I will let Emily take it away as we start the podcast off. So Emily, do us all a favor and tell us who you are, what it is that you do, and what got you into your space.
Okay. You might have to repeat that at some point, but let's get started with hello. Hi. So my name is Emily Tosoni, and I currently live in Helena, Montana. And I am an Instagram and business growth coach. And you could also add an asterisk for marketing strategy in there. So what do? Essentially, I help women business owners and entrepreneurs use Instagram as the top of the funnel. So instead of looking at Instagram as this is the end all be all of how I find my ideal clients and nurture the connection with them and get sales, we look at it instead as the strategy behind how to use it and then how to take next steps through their marketing channels. But the goal is to focus on less of the trend and the viral stuff and all of the things that feel confusing and overwhelming when you're running a business, when you're trying to do all the other things. The goal is to see Instagram as a piece of the puzzle in your business that will help you in growing all the other aspects of your business. And so that's like a general overview, but the way that I ended up here, and this could be the longer story. So I grew a very successful network marketing business. So I've had a network marketing business for the past 11 years. And for the first 6 or 7 years, it was very successful from in-person connections. So I did in-person presentations. I traveled a lot so I could meet people in person. And I'm very good at connecting with energy in the room and getting to know people. So I had this really successful business and had business partners all over the country. And then the pandemic happened. So like everyone else who was doing any sort of business with in-person anything, I had to figure out how to make a pivot. And I had not at that point used social media intentionally for business growth because I just didn't need to. I really loved the in-person part of my business. I loved the products. I loved all of that. But what I really loved was meeting new people, connecting with them, getting to know them. I love that relationship building process. And it happened very naturally. And so my business was very successful and I had created all these great connections. So I started to try and use any social media platform possible to keep my business alive during the pandemic, which felt very foreign to me and very, very awkward, right? Because I mean, I'm 40, so I was very adept at using Facebook, Instagram, even LinkedIn to stay connected with people because those platforms came about when I was in college. So I was really good at using them personally, but like to figure out how to use them for business felt very forced and awkward. And I also felt very much of like, I don't want my friends to feel awkward now that I'm using these platforms to promote a business, right? Like,
Yeah.
so I hired a social media coach for myself and started to learn like how to do relationship building online, which was a really interesting perspective shift for somebody that really does better in person. And so from there, I found that I really liked Instagram as a platform the best because it's so versatile for business purposes. And then it naturally happened that I was teaching my business partners in my network marketing business how to use Instagram. And then other people started reaching out to me on Instagram and saying, "Hey, are you a coach? Can you teach me how to use Instagram for my business?" And that happened enough that eventually I was like, I think I should follow this, this nudge that I continue to get. So it's been a very seamless transition. I still have my network marketing business. However, the majority of my time and energy is focused on my Instagram and business growth coaching because I love the versatility now of working with more than just one like silo of how I was working with my business partners. I still do that, but I love working with women who have been courageous enough to start their own businesses, which is a hurdle that is not talked about enough, that like women aren't really encouraged to be risk takers. So when you actually start a business and then you run up against these hurdles of, oh my God, but like there's so much to do and I don't know what to do. And we're also dealing with our own insecurities and our own imposter syndromes. And we know what we're doing in our business, but to promote ourselves is something we're not really taught how to do. And we feel uncomfortable with it. So there's so much tied into the majority of what I focus on is how do I teach you the strategy? And hopefully that will help with mindset shifts. I don't specifically do coaching on mindset shift or personal growth, but I always encourage that with my clients. So I think that's like a good short intro into how I got to where I am right now. Yeah, I think that was. I think I
She's like,
covered
did I miss
all the
anything?
highlights.
Hold on. Time
Did I
out.
miss anything?
No, and I love this so much. And you guys will have to definitely stay tuned toward the end so we can drop her social media handles and everything because you totally have to follow her on Instagram because I freaking love your page. Like your page is just so much fun. Like it teaches a lot of things, but it's so much fun, right? It's so interactive. And I have totally stolen several of the things that you have done to do it as my own because I was like, that's really cute. That's super easy. I can do that. But anyway, I digress. But no, I did want to make a point where you were talking about, women are not really taught to be risk takers. And we're not saying that like this is only a woman issue, because I know there's men out there that were not taught in this direction or were never given guidance to do certain things. You're more introverted or you weren't pushed into that societal masculine where we're just like, I'm going to conquer the world. So this can apply to you as well. And what we generally tend to see is that it is woman dominant when it comes to like, we're supposed to be the ones that want to accept everyone. We're supposed to be the ones to love everybody. We're supposed to be the ones to be like, how can I help you? And so you're totally right. Like stepping completely out of your comfort zone, especially if your background is like in corporate and you don't have any inclination of the entrepreneurial world, that's a huge risk to take. And again, you're right. We are not taught that. I mean, I swear it's bred into boys. I'm just saying that from my own two children, like the things that they do that I'm like, I would have never done. Like I took some risks when I was a kid, but sometimes I'm like, are you guys just missing this piece of like logic where like we can tell you what's going to happen? Is that just, sorry, you guys, I'm not giving you grief. But it's true. And any man that I've ever been around will admit it. But, So if you have someone that, is wanting to do this business, you hear a lot of people say, well, you have to be on social media.
Mhm.
You have to be out everywhere so that people can know you. However, you ran a successful business without it in the beginning. So what do you have to say to that statement? What is your opinion on that?
So I think we're in a time now, especially after the pandemic, where so many things transitioned to online, and now it's so much easier. There's so many different apps and platforms and things that you can use that have been optimized since that experience. I think it's really important now, whatever kind of business you have, that you do have a presence on on at least one social media platform. Even if you're not utilizing it in a fully strategic way, that your information is there, and that it's up to date, and that people can find you and get more information there, because people expect to be able to do that now. The general consumer expects to be able to go to the internet to find information they're looking for about a business owner, a startup, whatever it might be. People obviously still use Google. I mean, that's kind of like, the gold standard. People will go to Google to look for the information they're looking for, whether it's a business or something else they're searching for. But the reality is, platforms like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, they are becoming more popular in looking for services, products, different things that we need. But Instagram has, because of the versatility of the platform, Instagram itself has become the place where people go for entertainment and to find information. And it's easier for businesses to use Instagram because of the way the interface is with the platform, as opposed to like TikTok. And I'm not saying that is not a worthy platform to invest in if that's where your ideal client is.
Mm-hmm.
So you can absolutely be successful without being present on social media. And I also think it's a disservice at this stage of the world to not have a presence somewhere. Now, normally what I tell my clients is, they'll say, I'm trying to be present on Facebook and TikTok and LinkedIn and Twitter and Threads. And I also have like an email list, and I'm trying to, so what I always tell my clients is, what is sustainable is what will work. And you have to start with where you are. And of course, there's a learning curve to everything. You don't start your business thinking, I now have to be a content creator and a marketer. You start your business because of whatever it is that you want to do. And then the reality is, you also have to run all these other things, or you have to hire someone to do it for you. And most of us will start with doing it ourselves. So what I always tell my clients is, it's fine to be present on multiple platforms, but you need to learn how to master one of them first, because the strategy for each platform is a little bit different. I have a lot of people that, I would say most of my clients are women 50 and older, and they're very familiar with Facebook. Facebook, though, is not a great space for marketing a business. Now, especially if you're a location-based business. So like, say you have a coffee shop, or you have, a brick and mortar somewhere. Having a Facebook business page can be advantageous because people will look for your information there. But as far as your information showing up in anyone's feed, it's just unlikely to happen. Instagram has a greater probability of you being able to get in front of your ideal client audience without having to pay for ads. And then, LinkedIn is just a very different platform. The strategy is very different.
Yeah.
So there's like a lot of answers in there, but I'll say, like, if you're listening and thinking, okay, but that's me, I'm putting energy into all these platforms, master one of them first. It doesn't mean you can't also repurpose your content to the other platforms at the same time, but your energy should be focused on, what is the strategy to get in front of my ideal clients on this platform? And then maybe you put content into the other platforms to drive people to the one platform where you're putting your strategic energy to start with. And then once you get that figured out, you can hire someone. You don't have to do it all by yourself, but then you can start to figure out how to integrate other platforms. Okay, I feel like I went down a rabbit hole, but that was a long answer.
But there's one thing that popped in there as well, is your target audience.
Yeah.
So it was one thing that you said in there that I think that a lot of people, like if you heard all of that stuff and being able to master the one, I hope that you also heard that you need to be able to know where your target audience is.
Mhm.
Because I think that a lot of people, especially like I was the same way when I got into social media, I was like, I have Facebook, I don't do this crap. It is for my
Yeah.
family, the end, right?
Yeah.
And then everybody's like, well, but you need to have a presence. And I was like, ugh. But I do agree with you in regards to the Facebook business page. And I say that because I was told in the beginning I should get one. I did it. It never showed up anywhere. I was like, well, this is stupid. And pointless, but being able to identify your target market, blah, blah, and your audience is really huge because the demographics are different from platform to platform as well. And that's something that I was not aware of in the beginning. And then it was like, oh, okay,
Mhm.
now it's starting to make sense, right? So like
Yeah.
LinkedIn used to be business corporate only. Now it's kind of transitioning to entrepreneurial feeds and a lot of stuff. But Facebook, I feel like, is like our generation or the generation a little bit older. Like that's what they're used to. They're happy. They stay there. And then you had Instagram that popped up. And so you do have our age and younger, and then TikTok's just all over the place, in my opinion. No, TikTok is,
It is.
but
It is.
it is the demographic. I feel like is because you can do so much, but for me, it's like overwhelmed because of it. I am a fan of Instagram, definitely in regards to when I do want to intake information, because I can watch short little videos, I can
Yeah.
watch short clips, I can listen to people's reels, and my feed is full of like Tim Ferriss and Brene Brown and like people like that. But I love it because I can get a huge dose of growth mindset pieces
Mhm.
where you do not get that when you are on Facebook. You get like your friends' feeds, no matter whose stuff that you do, and whichever one you clicked on shows up more. And then you get an ad. What is it like I swear every four like down.
Mhm.
So it's very distracting where I really do actually enjoy going to Instagram to watch some of the things and learn stuff. How would people, because this is something new to me, as far as looking up information on Instagram, because I didn't even know that that was a thing till recently. This is why I love you. And this is why I follow you. So, because a lot of people say, oh, everybody uses YouTube and everybody uses Google. And like, yes, they do,
Mhm.
especially for podcasting, right? YouTube is a huge space for podcasting right now as well. But for Instagram, can you give us a little bit of information? Because like I said, this is new to me as well. Like people are looking for information. Like, how
Mhm.
does that work?
Okay, here we go. So Instagram has worked really hard to be a platform where you can do everything on there, right? Like Instagram is a business and they want to keep people on the app for as long as possible. And so in order for that to happen, they want people to be able to kind of have Instagram as a all-purpose platform. So they have really worked to make the search function within Instagram more robust. So actually now this has just happened within the past 2 weeks or so. The search function in Instagram is for all of Meta. So if you go to search
Oh,
something when you're in Instagram, it's going to search any Meta platform as well. But
interesting.
um, it has also shifted away from the heavy focus on hashtags. Okay, so I swear I'm coming to the answer of your question with all this. So I get this question a lot from my clients, what hashtags do I use? How do I
Yeah.
decide which one? Should I create my own hashtag? Hashtags are just a way to categorize our content, right? So that if somebody goes into the search field and they type something that maybe you have a hashtag for in a post, your post is now a part of that um like list, if you will, like back end
Mm-hmm.
list. And the search engine might populate your information when somebody types in a query that is similar to what your hashtag is. Okay. That's like how it's been in the past. Or you could search a specific hashtag. Hashtags are not dead, but they're not as important anymore as long tail keywords. So long tail
Hmm.
keywords would be, what are the phrases that your ideal client would be putting into a search field to find what they're looking for that you offer. So like for me, Instagram or business growth coach, marketing strategies that entrepreneurs can use. Those are long tail keywords, right? Like marketing strategies for women-owned businesses. That's a long tail keyword that somebody might type into Google, YouTube, Instagram, wherever they are. So it's become more important if you want to be findable, which I know is not a word, but if you want to be found on Instagram, any social media platform really, long tail keywords are more important. And the key with long tail keywords is that you want to be speaking to your ideal client where they are before they have had the transformation with you.
Mm.
So a lot of times we are speaking in our content to our ideal client, assuming they understand what we will be offering them to take them from X to Z or from A to Z, wherever you're taking them from and to. And we forget that they are in their pain point or in their struggle or on the other side of the hurdle. They don't necessarily know the jargon we would use to explain how and what the end result is.
Yeah.
Maybe they're using some phrases about what they want their end result to be, but usually it's different than how we would explain it. The best way to explain this, I always talk about, my friend Brandy is a certified nutrition therapy practitioner, and she works with women on nutrition, hormones, all of that. And one of the phrases she was using was irregular menstrual cycles. Most of us are not like, oh, I'm on my menstrual cycle. Some of us do, but it's just not the common phrase. We're not going in like, I'm having irregular menstrual cycles when we're searching for something, right? We're typing, what do I do about irregular periods?
Yeah.
It's just like a simple switch in the words that we use. And this is why understanding who your ideal client is, what their struggles are, what they want on the outcome, and how you can help them is so important for content creation so that you can be found by them when they're looking for you. Because if in your content it all says irregular menstrual cycles and they are typing in, I have irregular periods, there's a mismatch in what the algorithm will show them in their search results. So, it's like, hi, am I taking too far of a tangent here? So
no, I love this.
When you're trying to figure out, where is my ideal client? What platform are they on? And how can I get them to find me? There's a few things to think about. Demographics are really important, but they're honestly not as important as psychographics, behaviors, opinions. So those things become more important. The words people, how would someone describe how they feel? Like, I don't make a purchase for something because I'm a 40-year-old white woman. I make a purchase of something because I'm a mom who's overwhelmed and can't get to the store, and I feel stressed because that's why I make a purchase, not because of my sex, my gender, my age, right? So
yeah,
we've become so attuned to thinking of our ideal client as like Barb, who's 42 and lives in the suburbs and was a corporate success. And okay, but how does Barb feel? What are the things she struggles with? What keeps her up at night? What behaviors does she have that are that she wants to change or that she needs to change to get to the end result that you offer? And once you know those things, your ideal client is everywhere. Like, your ideal client is on any platform. Now, can you hone in to have a better idea of where they might show up depending on what you offer? Sure. But they're everywhere. And if you can speak to those things, what are the feelings? What are the emotions? How would they describe it? What keeps them up at night? Because Barb, again, is not making a purchase just because she's a 42-year-old woman who has had success in corporate. She's making a decision because she's like, I am burnt the fuck out from corporate and the rat race and working 100 hours a week. And I miss all my kids' baseball games. And I want to be able to go on field trips with my kids, and I can never tuck them in at night. That's why she's making a decision around, if that's what the things are that lead to the decision for the thing that she's looking for. So did I? Did I go so far around that I missed the question, or was that
No.
I answered it?
We have way too much fun, you guys. Her and I have conversations for hours. No, it makes a lot of sense. Actually, I love that you gave the examples as well, because people are trying to figure out who their ideal audience is, who their ideal client is. And you're totally right. For a lot of us, we miss that mark because we're on the other side, or we want to use the pretty words that everybody says that we should use. And then when you really think about it, and this is one thing that I love to tell people, is for a lot of us entrepreneurs, you're getting into something because you knew that there was a need for it. Most of us, not all of you, but most of you, right? So therefore, you know what you were actually thinking, what you were going through, and how you were handling certain situations before you hit the growth.
Yeah.
So if you can sit back and really like write down how you were feeling, what were the thoughts going through your head, why did you make some of the decisions that you made based off of that, that is going to help tremendously when it comes to figuring out like, okay, well, what does that even mean? Right? Because yes, while empowerment coach, authentic coach, what's some of the other words that people use?
Burnout
Resilient, burnout, like, yes. And I can tell you, and I'm sure that Emily can attest this as well, as many masterminds, networking calls, and things that I've been through, I cannot tell you how many times people use that generic overbrand. But then when I ask them, okay, so what exactly does that mean for you? It's totally different. And you could have the same two people that are like, oh, I do sales and strategy. But I guarantee you this one does this over here. And this one is something completely on the opposite, right? Because they've niched down into whatever it is that works for them. And something else that I heard a couple of days ago that this is like perfect for us. I want to bring this up because we were talking about the avatar. I heard someone that was talking about how to develop and figure out who your avatar is. And what he said was, instead of trying to figure out who your avatar is, if you are struggling, he said, make a list of what is not. He said, because then you know exactly what you do not want in a client or what you do not want in an avatar. So then you can avoid pushing to those people. And I thought, well, that was an interesting twist on it, because I feel like so many of us get caught up in trying to figure out who our ideal client is. And it's like, well, if you start with, I don't want to deal with someone who doesn't want my opinion. I don't want to deal with someone that hasn't been through X, Y, and Z, right? Like, I know that for me, although I've worked with several, I work better with clients that have had kids. I have kids. There's a relatability piece. Not that I can't work with someone that doesn't, but if I meet with someone who's in their 20s, who's fresh into this, we're probably not going to relate. So that's not necessarily my ideal clientele, because I don't have a lot of relatability to what it is that they're going through at that point in time, because I've already been through a shit show over here. And I'm like, oh, honey, you're just getting started. No, I'm just kidding. When I tell my 19-year-old, so kind of true, but it really makes sense for you to really just kind of, I hate to say this, dumb it down, because we get so stuck in like, how do we make it sound pretty? And how do we make it sound professional? And how do we make it sound, stop. Like, everybody is trying to make everything sound so perfect that you are completely missing the mark. And then you wonder why the people that you work with aren't necessarily a match with you. Or when you go to explain yourself deeper in a networking conversation, they're like, oh, that's what you do? Had that one happen. That happened a lot in the beginning. I was like, I'm an operations coach. And then I break it down to be like, oh, that's not what I thought you did. And I'm like, oh, wow. Okay. So apparently something is not, 1 + 1 is not equaling 2 in this scenario.
And that can be really hard to do when we're, we have like our catchphrase of how we describe what we do, right? Like, I am an Instagram and business growth coach. That does not even begin to touch all the things that I teach my clients. So you also like give yourself grace in like okay, you're an empowerment coach. but you need to be able to explain what that means
Yeah.
when someone asks for more detail. And you need to be able to explain it in a way that isn't vague. I think what I like to explain when it comes to social media is that a lot of us feel as if we have a service or product that anyone could benefit from. And in a lot of ways, that's probably true. But if your ideal client is everyone, especially on social media, you end up attracting no one because you become too vanilla, too vague. There's your content is like using all the broad words that mean nothing when it comes to what do you actually do for someone or how to actually help. So and like I've definitely used the phrase niche down before, and I've done trainings in the past on how to really identify your ideal client, so you can niche down. But the reality is, if you know why you started your business and who you really want to help and how you help them, you basically niche down organically. Because you start to identify, I really love to help women business owners who are just so frustrated and overwhelmed with an app that has thousands of features that they don't know how to use. And they just want to be able to know which features actually matter, that they should be focused on. And they also don't want to spend all day on the app. And it doesn't matter where they are in their business, whether they started it yesterday or 6 years ago, they want to use it advantageously, strategically, and effectively so that they are not on there all day and so that they actually have an impact on the ideal client they want to work with. Like I have just explained to you who I want to help, why I want to help them, who my ideal client is, and a little bit about how I help as well. So, there's all these like ways you can describe how to do that, but like, if you don't have clarity on who you help, why you want to help them, and how your offer helps them, then none of the rest of it, like that's literally always where I start with my clients because I can't give them a content strategy if they don't know who they're trying to talk to. And if they're trying to talk to everyone, listen, once you start to dial in on who you want to help and you're attracting them, then the other people will come.
Yeah.
Then other people who are maybe not necessarily your ideal client, but will benefit from working with you and will fit into working with you and align with you, they will come after you attract the specific people first. It's just the way it is. And really that's true in a lot of other scenarios in life. Like once you get more specific, right? Then, and people start to word of mouth refer and talk about you and share your content, then other people will come into your vortex. But to start with, you have to be specific. And that doesn't mean you are ostracizing someone. And that doesn't mean you can't work with them because maybe they do align with you and you didn't even know it. And they would be a great person to work with you and for you to work with. But you can't, your ideal client can't be everyone. It can't. You just, it is freezer burn vanilla ice cream in the back of the grocery store. Like nobody's going to get it. Nobody wants it. Nobody
Freezer
wants
burn
it.
vanilla ice cream. I
You know
love
what I'm saying?
that.
Like,
Is my new favorite thing.
You know what I'm saying, right? Like who goes
the
to the
old
grocery store to that whole line of ice cream? Who goes and is like, I feel like vanilla? No, the hell you don't. If you go to get vanilla, it's because you have an apple pie at home or you have something that you're going to put, you have birthday cake at home that the vanilla is going on. You do not go to specifically, maybe you're getting vanilla bean because it does taste a little different.
Okay, vanilla bean is different.
It's different.
It is different.
But most of the time you go
anyway.
to the grocery store to get ice cream and you're like, I want Rocky Road chunks with vanilla or with like a caramel swirl. You know what you want, and the only reason I swear to you, tell me if I'm wrong. If someone is listening and you're like, no, girl,
I can't wait for this.
and I get it. Like, I like vanilla ice cream, but for the most part, you're not buying vanilla as a standalone. Yeah. Literally. You're like, I made rhubarb crisp. That's what I'm thinking about right now because our rhubarb is coming up. I'm like, ooh, rhubarb crisp is great with vanilla ice cream, but not as a standalone, right? Like you have to think of your business and how you market it on a social media platform as, which ice cream flavor am I? Am I like, I actually am very allergic to dairy, so I don't really eat. I eat like coconut ice cream. I just eat what I can find in the ice cream section that works for my allergies. But before I realized I was allergic to dairy, I used to eat the moose tracks. Oh my God,
That's my
give me
husband's
moose
favorite.
tracks all day long. Like I will
No.
scour when literally I would go to every part of the ice cream aisle to find Breyer's moose tracks, specific brand, specific flavor. You want to stand out in the same way, because what everyone offers, like what Kat does, what I do, what any of you do, is like not unique at all. At all. There are at least 1,000, tens of thousands of other people doing what I do. Same with Kat. But the way you offer what you offer is unique. And if you can figure out how to be Breyer's moose tracks, I mean, for reals.
So lesson today here, if you can be Breyer's moose tracks, you're golden. No, but no, it makes a lot of sense, because if we go back and we all think about the way that we purchase things, the way that we connect with people, the way that you've hired a coach, the way that you bought your house, whatever the case may be, generally you are paying attention to the personality, you're paying attention to connection, you're paying attention to, does it make me feel comfortable? There are different things that you pay attention to. And it's the same way when you're working in your business as well. And for a lot of us that are service-based, and even those that offer products, people take a chance on you because of the connection. And so what makes you different? So yes, overarching, right? I offer mindset work and I help with business life integration. However, people connect with me because I can hold space for them. People connect with me because they love that I am goofy and authentic when I'm online, because I just don't care anymore, right? Like, so people want that. And so therefore it attracts them to it. And that's the kind of people that you want to work with, because otherwise you are attracting something completely the opposite, and it's not fun. It's exhausting. They end up getting frustrated. You're frustrated because it didn't work. And it just plays into this whole cycle. So I think the bigger overarching theme is, don't allow yourself to be in this scarcity mindset where you're afraid that if you say specifics of what you're looking for, that other people are going to get upset, other people are not going to want to work with you, or you may miss out on a potential opportunity because you put yourself here instead of in 50 different directions. I think that's the bigger thing too.
I mean, and another way to describe it is, like, you think about in your local area, what are the restaurants that you like to go to? Why do you go there? Is it because of food, the customer service? Think about the places you've gone that you will not go back to. I mean, once you start to think of yourself as a consumer and why you make choices, it can also be really helpful in how you create that experience for the people who are looking to work with you. And as long as you have an understanding of the struggles, how people describe their struggles, and the transformation or the outcome they want from working with you, or from the product or service, whatever your business looks like, and you speak to that and you do it consistently and you do it in a way that is palatable, so you don't try and share everything all at once. I mean, there's so many strategic tips there, but it starts with who, how, and why. And if you can get very specific on those pieces, it doesn't really matter which social media platform you're on, because you're specific, and they will find you. And you're specific and consistent in a way that is sustainable for you, because that also looks different for everyone. I mean, I have clients that's usually the first question I get from new clients. They're like, okay, how often do I need to be posting? And I'm like,
yep.
We can't even, that's like that's like step 10. I can't tell you what that looks like until I know what is sustainable for you, because then that will be consistent and sustainable for somebody who doesn't know who their ideal client is and has just been posting random shit. Is okay, you need to like hone in on content pillars and these things, And maybe 2 times a week is where you start with posting. And then you
Yeah.
can work up from there as you get your feet wet with like content creation and talking and using long tail keywords and phrases and that kind of stuff. But like start from where you are, and none of this bullshit of like, oh my God, you have to be posting 7 days a week in order to be successful. And if you're not, then why are you even on the platform? Because that's bullshit all the way around. And it doesn't help people who already feel overwhelmed by all the things they're
Yeah.
trying to do running a business. And I mean, you could be posting 7 days a week and nothing is happening in your business
Yep.
because you haven't dialed in on the other strategic things that need to be tended to before you start posting.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. I was that person in the beginning, I'm just gonna say.
I mean,
And I
me
actually
too.
did ask Emily that question in the beginning. I was like, so how often am I supposed to be posting?
Everyone asks,
But it
and
was
there's
so
no shame.
nice. It was so nice though to hear that like consistent is different. Consistent doesn't mean daily.
Yeah.
And like that was game changing for me because then it was like, okay. Okay, so I know that like at least twice a week I'm probably going to have stuff like this. So then I can just, you mean I can just like fill in the blanks in
Mhm.
between until I'm like, okay, I can do that. That's doable. And that's still how I run my stuff. But I love that you say that because I do think that there are so many people that are out there that do preach that, and yes, you have these quote unquote influencers that are constantly on. That's not your business. I mean, unless it is, but for most of us, that's not what our business is. And so the genuine content, the relatable content, and that consistency is what people are looking for versus possibly seeing you on there every single day. And it doesn't necessarily mean that your stuff is going to be in their feed every
Yeah, I
single
mean,
day.
they're not going to see you every day. I mean, the average Instagram user follows over 1,000 accounts and on average is on Instagram for 45 minutes a day. There's no
Mm,
way in hell that all your followers are going to see, like literally your followers only see 5% of what you post. 5%.
wow.
So I always tell people like, be repetitious because they probably didn't see it the first time, and take the information you posted and then put it in an email and then put it in a blog and then talk about it again next week and then go live about it and then talk about it in a Facebook group, because we think that we have to talk about something new every time we get on a social media platform. And the reality is most
Mm-hmm.
people haven't seen what we posted anyway, and they're not going to go back and scroll through to see it unless it shows up in their feed. Maybe they will if they're doing like, if they've just landed on our profile and they're mining around in our stuff to see if we're the right fit for them and they want to follow us. But for the
Yeah.
most part, they're not going to go back and look back. You want to have that content there, but they're probably not going to go back and look at it. So repeat yourself, share it, take a reel and turn it into a carousel. Take a reel and put a different hook on it. Use the same damn reel. Like literally use everything the same, put a different hook on it, see how it performs. You're A/B testing to see, and you're getting content out there. This is really important. Again, I'm saying this specifically for women. In my work of over 11 years working with women business owners specifically, I've maybe worked with 2 or 3 men over the past 11 years. We feel like we have to talk about something new every time we share. And the reality is repetition is how we learn. Repetition is how we start to earn people's trust. We hear them say the same thing over and over. So we know that what they're saying is truth, or is like,
Mm-hmm.
truth is not the right word, but like we know that we will get consistent information from them if
Yeah.
we hear the same thing and it's not competing with something else they've said. And of course, that being said, we always learn. So I am all the time telling my clients, hey, I've told you this in the past, but things have changed, or I've learned something new and now I want to suggest it in this way. And there's nothing wrong with learning and growing. So like, hear me when I say that as well. Anyway, I just went down a rabbit hole because I got excited. So where were we?
It's just there's so much passion that was behind that. No, honestly, I think it's a great thing to end on as we're coming to a close because again, a lot of us feel like it, like you said, it has to be new or it has to be consistent. Consistent means every single day, and it becomes this complete overwhelm, and then we don't do anything with it, right? And I love the fact that you can reuse the same thing that you're doing just in different ways. That helped me tremendously
Yep.
when it came to what I was posting and what I was doing, because I was the same way. I was like, I gotta think of more stuff. My brain hurts. So anyway, as we as we come to a close, one thing that I always ask all of my guests is, do you happen to have a quote or a piece of advice you would like to leave the audience with?
Oh God, I would have been better. You asked me this probably, and I forgot. Um, uh, well, I'm just gonna go with, I have this piece of paper up on my wall. That is from a speech I heard years ago, and it's right here in my office, and it just says, risk more, reflect more, and contribute more.
Ooh.
And I just love all the, right? Like, it can mean whatever you want it to mean. Risk more, reflect more, contribute more.
Oh, I like that. Ew, it's an interesting twist. See, this is, and so as you know, as we're reflecting on all the things, please do us a favor and tell everybody, where can they find you? How can they connect with you? And how can they be in your world?
The best way to connect with me is on Instagram, because you can get to everything that I have to offer from Instagram. So I'm at Emily, Emily Tosoni, Tosoni with an underscore. There is another Emily Tosoni in the world, but I'm pretty sure her Instagram is private. So, but she's my cousin. But follow me on Instagram. I give all sorts of free information. I always have free things that you can grab from me, from how to boost engagement on your profile to hooks that you can use as you're creating content. I'm offering free masterclasses pretty regularly, but that's the best place to start. And then there's a variety of ways to connect with me from there. But like, here's like a tip along with me sharing that, like, make it easy for people to find you. You're a business owner. If you're like, you can follow me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, you can email me, you can go to my website. I ain't going to do any of those things, because you just listed like 14 things. Just give me one place to go to find you and make it easy for me to learn from you in a simple way. Just go follow me on Instagram.
Love it. Bam. See, ending, cut, done, wrap it up. No. And don't worry, we'll have all that information in the show notes. So make it super simple for you to connect with Emily and be able to follow all of her content. It is freaking phenomenal. She is really great at just being her. And it's one of the reasons why I love following her account. So Emily, thank you so much for being a part of the podcast today.
Friend, thank you for having me. And thank you for holding this space and having guests and sharing all the things that all your guests share. I know it's a lot of work to create podcasts. So like, thank you for doing all that you're doing and having the space for all of us.
Thank you. I love having people like you on. So to everybody else that's out there, I hope you guys got some amazing tips. And if you're looking for more, obviously go follow Emily, because she's got tons of stuff, even teaching you how to figure out Instagram. Don't worry, I've taken a couple of her classes for that. So again, we'll have all the information in the show notes. And don't forget, until next time, do one thing positive for someone each and every day and see the difference that it makes in your life. So until next time, have a fantastic day. Hello again, and thank you so much for being a part of the podcast today. If you enjoyed this episode and it brought tons of value, we ask that you please share, like, and subscribe. Your support means the world to us and helps us to reach even more inspiring entrepreneurs who can benefit from these powerful conversations. If you haven't already, be sure to leave a review on your favorite podcast platform, as this feedback is an amazing gift that fuels our growth and helps us to continually improve this podcast. Looking for an extra dose of inspiration and empowerment? Then be sure to connect with me on social media. You can find me at The Lotus Effect, where I share valuable resources and tips while sharing my own journey of being an entrepreneur. And if you're interested in learning more about my coaching programs and services, be sure to check out my website at the-lotus-effect.com. Once again, thank you so much for being a part of Real Chat with Kat. Your presence and support makes all the difference. Remember, whether you find yourself in the depths of the mud or on the path of growth, We all have a unique journey. And just like the lotus, some of us start in the dirtiest of mud, yet as we rise and grow, we blossom into something beautiful, unique, and truly one of a kind. To all of my visionaries out there, keep rising and growing as you create your own lotus effect.